Cut. Hello everyone. Welcome back to another episode of Improving Your Production. I am Owen Gambrell, the production specialist at the Prime and Prim Studio of the Arts. I'm going to tell you a little bit about graphics in Premiere Creative Cloud, or Premiere CC. So, let's say you're working on a production, and you don't manage the motion graphics for the video. Someone else does. And let's just say you got your clip here. This is the end of our production ad. And let's just say this is the end of the ad for us. So we're like, all right, well, I've got you the outro draft right here. You're a motion graphics guy. He's like, I got it right here. Just plop it in, you're good to go. And you're like, okay. And you put it on in the end, and your production looks like this.
It's a lot.
Okay, it looks pretty good so far. That's pretty nice. Where are the credits? And where's the music score? And we're telling motion graphics guy, where is it? And he's like, oh, you gotta edit, because I don't know what you're working with, Okay. Ignore that. So what do? You're just the video guy. You're like, well, hold on a minute. What am I supposed to do with this? Well, if you're smart, you know in Premiere that there's some basic graphics settings you can adjust in the effects, right? You can do it yourself. And if you lay it out right in the timeline, you could fake it till you make it. I'll show you how. So let's go to the end of our video here, where we want our credits to start. Because first thing we're going to fix is this cold cut from the footage to the outro. Yeah, that's kind of sudden, So first we're going to put our outro a little bit above on another video layer, and a little bit before it actually is going to start. Because what we're going to do is come up here into motion and click that stopwatch to begin the position animation. So what this stopwatch does is it basically records all what we do in keyframes. Keyframes are the basis of all animation, whether that's being drawn by hand, whether that's motion graphics for production, you name it. And right here's a little slidey bar that actually shows us where the clip begins and ends. So here's the start of that clip, here's the end of that clip. We want position as what we're going to change. So right now, when we click that stopwatch, it put a keyframe right where it is. So we want to go, actually, to make this easier, disable this video layer so you can actually see where you want your end point to be, and then re-enable it. And that'll move it here too, because we just passed time. To explain what I just did without sounding like a complete dork this time, in summary, is we're moving the playhead here to establish where we want the final bit of position to be. So we're going to put a keyframe right there. And we're not going to change any of these values, because this is where we want this outro to be when its animation finishes. So we're going to go back to the keyframe we initially put down when we click the stopwatch, and now we're actually going to label out the starting position. With keyframes, if you lay it out right, with the start and end, it'll handle all the in-between by itself. So let's just say we want our outro to slide in from off the screen and right to the left. So we're going to move that's the Y value. We're going to move the X value here all the way to the right by holding it down and dragging to the right. Just a little off screen. You don't want to go too far off, because it'll take too much time to actually get on the screen. But just a little bit off the side there. So now, if we played our cards correctly,
It's a lot.
there you go. Our outro slides up on screen naturally and fluidly, as if we had done it in After Effects. But you did it in Premiere. Isn't that cool?
It's a lot.
It's worth noting
It's a lot.
you can do this with you can do this with any video clip. I could have the outro down here and have the video feed slide around if I wanted to. Also, I just noticed by looking at the output where I'm filming this, I'm not filming in 60. It's a little choppy here in the playback, but don't worry about that. It'll be smooth when you do it, I promise. Blame YouTube compression. That's what I blame it on. Anyway, so there you go, simple animation. We can actually, if we zoom in a little bit more, if that's a little too slow for you, we can zoom in, go to the point where this starts, and actually click and drag this keyframe closer. So it takes less time to actually get where I want it to. It's a little sudden, but it'll do. Tell your motion graphics guy to leave you some just sort of blank screen. But what if they didn't leave you with a few seconds of solid frame to mess with? What if they just sent you, what if your what if your motion graphics technician sent you this and it just goes straight into here? And when you want to do that tricky slide, so it's not such a clean cut, you can't. Because if you try to do the slide, you're going to be sliding in while all this information is coming in. And it's going to be not only a little bit busy for the eyes, you might miss something while this clip slides in real fast. You know, you can't read it if it's doing this. Give the audience a headache. So what do? Well, let me introduce you to a feature premiere called color mats. You go to File, you go to New, and you add a color mat. And it'll give you some settings for how big it should be. In that case, it should match the settings of the clip. So you're just gonna make sure that's all good. Like it matches what you're filming in. You should know this. You're a video editor. You should know what these settings are. You're gonna click OK, and then it'll bring you to the color picker. Let's say you don't know the exact RGB values for what color you need. Oh, no, it might be this shade of blue, might be this shade of blue, right? You got the eyedropper. So you're going to go down to the color you want. In this case, it'll be this color. I'm going to click OK. And it'll ask you for a name. We're going to call this the still frame. And this clip will just be a few seconds of solid color. So then you can come over here and repeat all the steps we already said for making motion in Premiere. You know, the position, put that there. It moves like this, you know. And boom.
It's a lot.
Oh. I did it backwards. But you get the point. You come over here to where you want it to be. I've explained this to you. Put it there, and then
Real film. Plus, it's a lot.
Boom. Look at that. You don't even need your motion graphics guy. I'm kidding. You do absolutely need them because you can't do this very easily in Premiere. You can, but it'll take you twice as long. I think so. That's my opinion. Someone out there could probably do it in the same amount of time. Hire that person. But anyway, there you go. You don't even need the still frame they gave you because you just added it yourself because you're smart. So anyway, that's cleanly transitioning into this outro. That's problem 1 fixed. But here's problem 2. Here's the part where we actually get into the credits of the people that worked on the film. There's no one there. There's nothing here for the music score either. What do? Well, you can add it yourself if you know what font this is. I happen to know, based upon working in my company, that this is Dancing Script. It's a Google font that I can get. So I go off and get it. I click here in the text tool, and I click here to add text. It's going to add a graphic layer to the project. So make sure you add another video layer if you need it. So we're going to come up here to the text. we click on this. We're going to say, we're going to add our credits ourselves. Directed by Jim Smith. Snacks from Hostess. Or snacks from local bakery. Right? Yeah, because that's important. Whoever brings the snacks brings everybody to the yard, right? What am I saying? Anyway, there you go. You got some text. And you can go over here to... here we go. Click over here to the arrow. Sorry, it took me a minute to remember. Go over here to the arrow. It gives you a selection of fonts. If you have the right font installed because you asked your motion graphics guy what it should be, you can select it here. You can even make it semi-bold or bold. You know, change the color, the fill, and the stroke. If you need it to match, you can do the same thing we did with the color map. Pick that eyedropper, select the color. You know, make it centered. And you can say things like, you can move it once you've done that. Position might be trickier because it may not be centered after you center it. But, you know, make sure you get it just right, you know. You can even do motion, as we just described. Like, you know, maybe you want it to slide in, just like the brought to you by text, right? Well, you could do the same thing we said with the color mat. Go over here to position, you know, label your end point. Go over here, label your start point. You know, just change position. And bada boom. Look at that. Perfect. Make it faster by increasing the distance between the keyframes so it has less time to execute the instruction. And look at that. Brought to you by, there you go. By Jim Smith, snacks from local bakery. Credits that you added yourself. You didn't even need After Effects to do it. Because of these tools, you're smart enough to do it in Premiere. Cool, awesome, fantastic. We're already fixing the problems that this outro has. One last thing to fix that I'm noticing here. Maybe you want to extend this out. You know? Like maybe you have a whopper amount of credits. You want to make sure people read Jim Smith's name, or you have plenty of people who worked on this, and you don't have, it won't fit in 8 seconds. You're like, oh, but I want people to look at Jim Smith longer, not just these 8 or so seconds this occurs in. Well, we added another frame hold, just like we did for when we took the still frame and held it on at the start for the transition. I'm going to cut it in half. You're going to extend for about as much time as you need to hold this. So let's double. Let's set, for example, let's double this from like 8 to 16. So yeah, you're going to go to the part in the video where it changes, which should be here. Razor it, move it over. And then you're going to go to the one of these still frames that you want to hold this on. Snip it. Go over to here. Click add the frame hold, drag it all the way out, and there you go. In seconds, you've done what you needed to do. Now people can look at Jim Smith's name as they need to, as you want them to, for 18 seconds instead of 8. And life is good. It's great. Finally, because there's no nice subtle fade out, you may have to add it yourself. In that case, just go to opacity, you know, mark where you want to change it. Oh, let me do this over. Mark when you want to start. Go to the end of the clip where you want this video to end. Oh, I'm sorry, I'm in the wrong video. Holy moly. I'll be in this video instead. There we go. Make sure you're selected on the right video as I just showed, because otherwise you'll be editing this clip and not this clip. We actually need to make this count. So now we off to the side, opacity, put that at 0, and then the the fade out you need. Perfect. Fantastic. And now you've got a complete functioning graphic credit sequence with only a minor amount of work necessary to change it from one thing to the next. Fantastic. Beautiful. You don't need After Effects. You got everything you need in Premiere. Isn't that wonderful? Well, you still need After Effects just a little bit, because doing something like I said, this animation where you slide all this around, this take forever in Premiere. Like a lot in Premiere. Color matting can do probably this bar, this accent bar in the animation. And you have options for the text, as we've just shown. But what if you want a complicated graphic, like this Instagram logo? You can't really make that with color matting and text. You might be able to pull the image off online and just plop it in here and maybe do some crazy color effects with it. But that's a bit complicated. That might take time. Might be faster to do that in After Effects. Not only that, you saw some instances where I kind of needed some assets from the outro from After Effects. Like if I wanted to do the frame hold method here, for example, I would need the source from the After Effects made outro, right? Right. But I hope today in this very short video I showed you exactly what you can do in Premiere CC to make your graphics fit better in with your video. Some very, you might need some very specific things. Your general outro, as we've just shown, doesn't hit. Well, this gives you the power as a Premiere editor to help things fit better, to make your production better, improving your production. Imagine that. Anyway, that's all I got for you today. If you want to see more stuff like this, or if you just want to see more stuff in general and not miss a beat from the Prim and Prim Studio of the Arts, be sure to like and subscribe, and we'll see if we make another one of these for the public. We'll see. Can't make a promise. But I suppose that's it. Not too good at goodbyes. Take care of yourselves and stay tuned for more. And keep on improving your production.